Have you ever walked into a room and forgot why you came in? Or you place your keys somewhere safe, and 5 minutes later they're gone. You open your phone to do one thing, and suddenly you're scrolling with no idea how you got there. If that sounds familiar, don't ignore it. It doesn't mean you're getting dumb, and it doesn't always mean stress. It can be a quiet sign that your brain is aging faster than your body, and most people don't notice until it becomes a problem. Stay with me, because in the next minutes I'll show you what's really happening, and the everyday patterns that speed it up. Most people believe their brain is active all day, but the truth is, most of the time it's running on autopilot. You wake up at the same hour. You follow the same routine. You take the same routes. You repeat the same conversations, the same thoughts, the same reactions. Your brain isn't really choosing anymore. It's replaying patterns it already knows. First, this feels comfortable. Your brain saves energy by avoiding effort. But biologically, that comfort comes at a cost. The brain stays sharp by making decisions, solving problems, and adapting to small challenges. When those challenges disappear, the brain stops exercising the systems that keep it flexible. Over time, neural connections become weaker. Focus becomes shallow. Thinking becomes repetitive. That's why days start blending together. Weeks feel shorter. Time seems to move faster than it used to. It's not because life suddenly accelerated. It's because your brain is processing less information deeply. An active brain creates strong memories. A brain on autopilot skips that process. That's why conversations fade quickly. Moments feel empty, and experiences start feeling familiar, even when they're new. This isn't aging caused by years passing. It's aging caused by repetition. The brain needs friction to stay sharp. It needs moments of effort, choice, and attention. Without that friction, it doesn't collapse suddenly. It slowly dulls. And the most dangerous part is this. Autopilot feels safe, normal, and harmless, until you realize how much of your mind it has quietly taken away. Your brain was not designed to be entertained all the time. It was designed to tolerate boredom. Boredom is not a problem. It's a signal. It's the moment when the brain slows down, reflects, and reorganizes itself. But today, boredom barely exists. The moment your brain feels uncomfortable, you reach for stimulation. Your phone, a video, music, anything to avoid silence. At first, this feels harmless, even productive. But over time, constant stimulation rewires the brain. It trains it to expect reward without effort, speed without depth, noise instead of thought. The brain begins to lose patience. Long conversations feel exhausting. Reading feels difficult. Silence feels uncomfortable. Not because you are incapable, but because your brain is no longer trained to stay still. A brain that cannot stay still cannot think deeply. And when deep thinking disappears, memory weakens. Focus breaks easily. Ideas remain shallow. This is not damage you feel immediately. It builds slowly. Your brain becomes fast, reactive, and restless. But it loses something essential: depth. And without depth, the brain doesn't grow. It only consumes. Over time, this constant consumption ages the brain faster than time ever could. A healthy brain doesn't rush, pauses. It observes before reacting, processes before responding. But many brains today no longer do that. They react instantly. A message appears, you answer. A notification lights up, you check it. An emotion shows up, you act on it. Speed starts replacing reflection. At first, this feels efficient. You feel quick, alert, always ready. But over time, something changes. The brain stops building space between stimulus and response. And that space is where thinking happens. Without it, emotions become sharper. Reactions become automatic. Control becomes weaker. You get irritated faster. You feel mentally tense for no clear reason. Small things trigger big reactions. This isn't personality. It's a brain trained to react instead of reflect. Reflection requires patience. Reaction requires none. And the brain adapts to whatever you use the most. When reaction dominates, deep thinking fades. Decisions become impulsive. Judgment becomes shallow. complex problems feel overwhelming. The brain stays busy, but not intelligent. Over time, this constant reactivity exhausts mental systems. Not physically, but cognitively. The brain becomes fast, but fragile. And a fragile brain ages faster, because it never slows down long enough to reorganize itself. Thinking doesn't disappear suddenly. It erodes, quietly, daily, through constant reaction. Memory doesn't disappear because of age. It disappears because it stops being used deeply. Your brain remembers best when it is fully engaged, when attention is present, when information connects to meaning. But modern life rarely allows that. You read things quickly. You listen halfway. You experience moments while thinking about the next one. Information enters your brain, but it doesn't stay. First, this feels normal. You assume you're just distracted or tired, but distraction trains the brain to store less. When attention is divided, memory becomes fragile. Names slip away, conversations fade, details vanish. Not because your brain is broken, but because it was never given time to encode properly. A brain that rushes cannot remember deeply. Memories require stillness. They require presence. They require space. Without that space, experiences pass through you instead of staying with you. Days feel empty not because nothing happened, but because nothing was fully processed. Over time, the brain adapts to this shallow storage. It stops trying to remember deeply, because it expects information to be replaced quickly. This weakens long-term memory systems. The result is subtle but powerful. You feel mentally foggy. You struggle to recall simple things. You doubt your own sharpness. This is not aging caused by years. It's aging caused by shallow attention. And a brain that cannot form strong memories loses its sense of continuity. Life starts feeling disconnected. Moments lose weight. Time feels thinner. Memory isn't just storage. It's how the brain holds your life together. When memory weakens, the brain ages faster than the body ever shows. Attention is not just focus. It's the fuel of the brain. Whatever receives your attention grows stronger. Whatever doesn't weakens. This is how the brain has always worked. But today, attention is constantly fragmented. You rarely give your full attention to one thing. Your mind jumps, splits, switches. First, this feels normal, even necessary. But a brain that never stays with one thing cannot strengthen the circuits that keep it sharp. Attention is what allows the brain to organize information, to prioritize, to connect ideas. Without sustained attention, everything becomes shallow. Thoughts don't settle. Understanding doesn't deepen. Meaning fades quickly. Over time, the brain adapts to this scattered state. It stops expecting depth. It stops preparing for complexity. This weakens executive functions, the systems responsible for clarity, control, and planning. You feel mentally tired even when you haven't done much. You feel busy, but not productive. This isn't because you're lazy. It's because your attention is constantly leaking. A brain without stable attention cannot sharpen itself. It becomes reactive instead of intentional, busy instead of clear. And when attention weakens long enough, the brain begins to age structurally. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually as its most important systems receive less and less energy. Attention doesn't just shape how you think. It shapes how your brain ages. And when attention fades, the brain follows.